Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex. And Marvel Future Fight just announced a humongous change to Awakened characters that you're going to want to know, because knowing what's coming for Awakened characters will allow you to prepare your Awakened characters better, know what to expect, and also to be able to get more out of your Awakened characters. So, without further ado, let's just get into this. This is like a huge rework, essentially, for all Awakened characters. So, they're letting us know far in advance, like over a week or about a week in advance. The upcoming August update will introduce Transcend Potential System. So it's a brand new system called Transcend Potential, where characters who are potential awakened can be upgraded. So this is not something that's going to be available for all characters. It's also not going to be available for tier 3 characters. It's only going to be available for the 10 existing characters who can be awakened with an awakening skill. Think Red Guardian, Amadeus Cho, Beta Ray Bill, characters like that. Other potential awakened heroes will be added. We know Medusa, there may be more. And the 10 existing potential awakened system will also be reworked for the existing 10 characters. So even if you do absolutely nothing between now and the update, your awakened Mystique or your awakened Red Skull will change in some way. So let's find out what's going to change. Potential awakened skills. So this is actually the most important part of the entire post. This is sort of like a dev note. These two sentences right here are essentially the reason why, the justification for changing the awakening system, because you're probably wondering what was wrong with the awakening system. Mystique's really amazing, Beta Ray Bill's awesome, the Warriors of the Sky have their use in PvP. What's going on? So let's find out from Netmarble's point of view, from the devs' point of view, why they are tinkering, changing this system. So they said potential awakened skills. So the sixth skill, the awakened skill of the potential characters, currently only inflicts strong effects for a short period of time. So that's true. If you take a look at the skill effect, there are some persistent buffs, and I'll use Mystique as an example because she's one of the best, if not the best, awakened character. Her Mutant Assassin skill, sure, you have the buffs, right? Remove all debuffs for 10 seconds, invincibility for 10 seconds. You've got 40 seconds of attack and defense. But the really important part here, on top of the damage, is the minus 70% all defense down for 10 seconds. Hello. And then the crit rate, crit damage, ignore dodge, right? Those are the really important parts of the skill. So they said that those important buffs are only in place for a short period of time. And so the character's consistency, the character's damage, the character's effectiveness will fluctuate a lot over the course of the battle, which can be kind of frustrating. Also, most potential awakened characters are not being used very often as their original stats are low. So I think this is the more important thing here. They're looking at the metrics, they're looking at the daily active users, and they're looking at how many users are using or upgrading or investing in these characters, and they're not seeing a return. So that's a fair assessment, right? You created these characters to be different. You gave these characters upgrades. They're supposed to be better than other characters, and players are just ignoring them. Or players are just upgrading them to tier 2 and completely ignoring their awakened skill. Like, you know, maybe a lot of people bought Amadeus Cho's uniform because it's a big upgrade for Amadeus Cho, but they got to this page and they're like, you know what? I don't really need Atlas Tactics, right? Now, part of the reason why, I do need to address this here first. Part of the reason why awakened characters are not being used very often is because of game modes. That's something that the devs need to identify and need to acknowledge. They don't do it here, but they need to know that, so I need to say that in case they're watching, okay? And I also want you guys to know that you know, right? Because you're saying the same thing to your screen right now. Alex, I'm not awakening characters because what do I need awakened characters for? What do you need, right? Alex, you haven't awakened a character since Mystique. That's true. I can awaken Beta Ray Bill, and I probably will because he's just such a badass, but I don't really need to awaken Beta Ray Bill. He can still one-shot stage 40-50 world boss in 10 seconds or less without his awakening skill, without the might of Uru, right? We don't need awakening characters for anything because all of the content in the game can be completed with your existing roster of tier 2s and tier 3s. That's just the way it is. And there's not enough variety in PvP. Essentially, the only places where you quote-unquote need these characters is if you are in a very competitive Alliance Conquest group, if you are a very competitive solo Shadowland player, or if you're a very competitive top 16 ABX Alliance, or if you're a very competitive solo squad battle player. Those are 4 very niche groups of players. Very niche, right? I didn't talk about World Boss. I didn't talk about Timeline Battle. I didn't talk about Giant Boss Raid. I left out a lot of content. So that's the real That's the real bigger issue here, but let's move on. So that's the reason why they're tweaking the system. So let's find out what they're going to do. Therefore, we are preparing to increase the usability of potential awakened heroes through the Transcend Potential update. So this new Transcend Potential system. After the update, so after this Inhumans update that's coming next week, the potential awakened heroes stats will be increased to near those of tier 3 heroes once Transcend Potential has been achieved. So that's a bit of a weird way of wording it. Basically, what they're saying is that once the awakened characters have their potential transcended, once they have undergone Transcend Potential, and we'll find out what that is in a second, their base stats will be increased. So in the same way that when you tier 3 a character, you can see on that page their tier 3 stats get increased, his stats are going up, you will basically have a page like this for your awakened characters who can transcend potential. And we'll find out what you need to do in order to prepare your character for Transcend Potential. But basically, imagine your Mystique. Imagine it's Mystique here instead of Spider-Man. She's ready to Transcend Potential. You'll have a page here with different materials. You're not going to need the CCF. Well, yeah, you don't need CCF. You're going to see the materials there. You're not going to see a new skill, but you're going to see new stat buffs, right? You're going to see increases in attack, increases in defense, and increases in HP. And the stat bump will be, as they said, near to those of tier 3 heroes. So this is actually a really important change because I've often said, and I criticize that, that's one of my biggest criticisms of awakened characters was that this buff is so dumb, right? And every single awakened character has it. So it's obvious that they're just masquerading as tier 3 characters, right? As soon as I can cast, as soon as I can play and use Hydra Rallying Cry, then my Red Skull's attack and defense is going to jump for 40 seconds by 50%. And then, of course, the skill has a 30-second cooldown, so I can cast it so I always get the buff. But he never gets an HP buff. That was the one big problem. So awakened characters were always going to be inferior in PvP because they're always missing that 50% HP bump. Because even the worst tier 3 characters could just survive. They could outlast them in Alliance Conquest or in other game modes because they just have more HP. And because of HP multipliers in Conquest, in Timeline Battle, and in Alliance Tournament. So they're changing that, and it's going to be a straight up base stat or stat increase. I really like that. I think that's a great change. So now we have to find out, how do you transcend potential? What is this new system? So let's take a look. Transcend Potential is available once a hero's potential awakening skill is level 6, the character's gears are 25, and you use the proper materials. So the materials that you need to transcend potential is 100 awakening crystals, 200 Mandalay gem fragments, and 500,000 gold. I think this cost is fine. I think it's excellent that it does not require tier 3 materials. I think that is the right move. I do need to say one thing, Marvel Future Fight, you need to give us another game mode to farm awakening crystals. We don't have enough awakening crystals. We have enough Mandalay gem fragments now. We don't have enough of these. So put awakening crystals in GBR, put awakening crystals in World Event. I don't care. Just don't put them in World Boss, okay? Put more awakening crystals in another game mode. So once Transcend Potential is applied, once you've advanced it, agents will be able to experience stronger hero performance compared to those of the previous potential awakened skills. So that means it should be stronger than it was now. Okay, so one more time, what do you need to do to transcend potential? So what you're going to need to do to transcend potential is you're going to need to get the character's transcended skill, their awakened skill, to level 6. So you can see my mutant assassin skill is level 6. So for example, for Shadow Shell, my skill is only level 3. I cannot transcend Shadow Shell's potential because it's not level 6. I would have to get the skill to level 6. There's no change to the materials here that you need to upgrade the skill to level 6. So I have to get the skill to level 6, and then I also need to get the character's gears to 25. So you can see there, handgun is 25, but then her costume, her boots, and her shapeshifting, her shapeshifting cells are 25. So I got to get the boots and the costume to 25. However, big pause here. Do not upgrade any of the awakened characters' gears to 25 when you are watching this video or after the update. Just don't. Do not, okay? Because they're going to give it to us for free. That's the best part of this change. Yeah, I said for free, I mean it, for free. So don't touch Beta Ray Bill's gears. Don't touch Blue Dragon's gear. Don't touch Red Skull's gear. gears. Don't touch Dr. Octopus's gears or Shadow Shells or War Tigers or Sunbirds. Don't touch any of the awakened characters' gears. I think it's pretty straightforward. Of course, you have to get the gears to 20. I mean, don't touch the gears after 20, okay? I promise you, it'll make sense when the update lands. So let's take a look. So here's the part that people are going to be upset about, okay? So they then admit, right, they're going to make the character stronger. They're going to give them extra base stats, so that's going to make them more unbalanced, because Mystique and Beta Ray Bill are already really strong, and the Warriors of the Sky are good too. You know, most awakened characters are quite strong, stronger than tier 3 Black Panther and maybe some other tier 3s. So it's a bit unbalanced to make just straight up make them stronger, right? So if the stat addition system, the base stat addition system from doing the Transcendence, is applied to the current awakening skill balance that we have in the game now, it could cause an overbalance compared to other heroes, and it could deter gameplay. Therefore, we are deciding to undergo awakening skill effect rebalancing. So this is correct. They are going to be nerfing awakened characters' skills, but this is the correct thing to do. This is the right thing to do. Please understand that the performance of some heroes may become weaker if they are not transcended after the next update, as the updated skill balance will be applied. Once transcend potential has been preceded, as the hero stats have been increased, the performance will be near to that of a tier 3 hero. So basically what they're saying is that because they're increasing the ceiling, because they're increasing the highest possible damage and numbers and HP and whatever of the awakened characters, they have to lower where they are right now in terms of their skill effect. So I'm presuming it's just the awakened skill effect. It may also be their base stats. We don't know the extent of the nerf, but your characters will get weaker after the update. So all of the awakened characters that you have will get a little bit weaker. Might be a little bit more than a little bit weaker. We don't know how much weaker, but they will be stronger once you get all of their gears to 25 and you use 200 Mandalay gem fragments, 100 awakening crystals, and 500,000 gold to transcend their potential. Once you have their gears to 25 and you have their awakened skill at level 6. So essentially, this means that in order to get the maximum out of these characters now, you're going to have to invest more, but the characters are going to be much more consistent, and the characters are going to feel much more worthwhile of your investment. Because to be honest with you, although I don't like nerfing existing characters, and I think that's a bad move, like I think that's almost always a bad move, in this case it's necessary, because otherwise if they don't nerf, some of these characters would be out of control. Mystique would be way too strong. The Warriors of the Sky would be way too strong for PvP. The Beta Ray Bill would be like nuts. These characters are already, you know, almost on par with some tier 3s, and they're going to get even stronger. It would just be busted, right? It's like a Jean Grey situation all over again. We don't want it to be that busted. But some of you may be asking, why do we need to do this at all? So one more time, I'll just go back to what they said about awakening characters. Awakening characters were only inflicting those effects on their awakening skill for a short time, and then they were not being used very often because their original stats were low. So they just weren't being used very often, and their performance would spike, right? So the awakening character would be like kind of average, then you activate the awakening skill, whoa, so good, and then back down average, whoa, so good, right? And that's just not really as fun of a gameplay mechanic as it would be if the character was, you know, better from the get-go. So now, once you have those awakened characters, they will be better once they're transcended. You know, in any gameplay that you use them in, they will be just straight up better. And then once they activate the awaken skill, they'll get even more of a bump, of course, but there won't be this like drastic raising and dropping of the character's value. And it gives you something more to work towards rather than just awakening a character and leaving all their gears at 20 and having the character sort of feel incomplete. And it also rewards players who want to go the extra mile and want to upgrade the character fully. I know not everybody's going to agree with this. I know some people are going to think that maybe this is a waste and maybe, you know, Netmarble shouldn't be spending their time doing these sorts of things and they should be focusing on other areas of the game. But I think this is a really good sign for the future of the game. It does put more emphasis on squad battle, and it does put more of a burden on, you know, players to play that or to supplement that by spending money if you want to have those things and if you want to get the maximum out of your characters. So of course there's some money making potential here. There always is with every move that a mobile game makes. But I think this is important because they're rebalancing characters. They're rebalancing. This is sort of like rebalancing content. and they're paying attention, right? They've obviously put a lot of thought into this, and they essentially admit that there's more. I'll tell you guys, there's more later here, but they essentially admit that they basically messed up, and they essentially their plans before were not very good for awakened characters. They didn't really plan out the system properly. So they're going back now and they're fixing the system. I have a lot of admiration for people that can admit their mistakes and want to fix the system to be better. So I actually really like this. So let's see what else they're going to do for it, because there's actually more to it that's actually really good for all of the players, for all of the existing awakened characters. So yes, in the future, for Medusa Awakening and all those other characters, you're going to have to invest more in the characters, and you're going to have to invest more resources in order to get the most out of those characters. However, here's the good part, the best part. For all of the existing awakened characters, it's going to be free to get their awakening, to transcend their awakening, and to basically max them out. So let's see what's going on. So we understand that changing the balance of the provided content, like the content that exists in the game, due to an issue with the course of our early plans can be confusing. So as a token of our apology, so this is what I was saying, they apologized for their early plans basically being bad. Their original system for awakening was just lazy and it wasn't very well thought out. The following measures will start from the August update until the next update. So the following measure will be available from the August update until the September update. So you basically are going to have a window of 1 month to take advantage of the following two things. Transcend potential will be free. So you will be able to transcend potential for any of the existing 10 heroes for free. So remember I said you needed to use awakening crystals and Mandalay and gold. You don't need to do that for any of the existing 10 awakened characters. All of the Warriors of the Sky, Dr. Octopus, Red Skull, Mystique, Red Guardian, Beta Ray Bill, and Amadeus Cho. You don't need to do that. You don't. It's just 100% free to transcend their potential for free. Okay, cool. What else is free? Discount on upgrading the character gears from 21 to 25. All of these 10 characters here, you will be able to upgrade their gears, their 4 gears, from 20 to 25 for 1 gold each. So you're going to be able to buy tokens that you can use instead of the character gear materials, instead of the whatever it is. So for him, it's black antimatter. Instead of using black antimatter and tier 3 materials, I can use 1 gold. So presumably it will be 5 gold for each gear. So 20 gold to buy 20 tokens to upgrade Red Guardian's gears to 25. That's pretty awesome. Thanks, Marvel Future Fight. I think that's a sick upgrade. I think that's a worthy compensation as a token of apology. I think they are doing a fantastic job with this. I could not have thought of a better solution here. So again, this only applies to the existing 10 characters. This won't apply to Medusa. This won't apply to any future characters. But for all of the existing characters, if you have them awakened, you can. So even if you don't have, I think even if you don't have them awakened, right? So for example, I don't have Beta Ray Bill awakened, but I don't have War Tiger awakened. What I think it means is that after the update, I can awaken my War Tiger, and then I can go to the store and I will be able to buy coins, the tokens, with 1 gold each to upgrade his gears to 25. And then I'll be able to transcend his potential for free as well. So all you have to do is basically pay the price of admission. You'll have to pay this cost still. This part is not free. And leveling up the skill doesn't seem to be free either. Leveling up the skill this way doesn't seem to be free. But then everything else will be free. Gears will be essentially free. Upgrading the gears will essentially be free, and transcending the potential will essentially be free as well. The transcend potential is where they get that stat bump that we talked about. That's like a tier 3 stat bump. So that's how it's basically explained. So yeah. And then the last thing is for players who had already upgraded their gear. So you went and saw, I already had some of Shadow Shell's gears upgraded to 25. I already had some of Mystique's gears upgraded to 25. You are going to be getting some rewards back. You're going to be getting a refund. It's not a full refund. It's not a refund that you should try and take advantage of now by upgrading the gears. It's just if you've already upgraded them, don't upgrade them now. I repeat, don't upgrade them now because it's going to be basically free. And this refund is not as good as free because it's not a 100%, one-to-one refund, but it's something, right? So all the players that got to take advantage of those I got more out of my Mystique for the few months that I had her gears at 25. for ABX. I got a few extra, whatever, 100,000 points every week with her. I benefited from that. And now on top of that, I'm going to get a bit of a refund. So the refund system is just kind of complicated, but whatever. You can read it. They basically just average out the gears, and then whatever the average is, you get one of these reward brackets, and that'll be for every single character that you have with gears upgraded. The rewards will be sent for each character. So if you're a big whale and you have all 10 awakened characters and all of their gears are at 25, you're going to be getting a lot of, you can see here, 300 per character. So you're going to have 3,000 black antimatter. You're going to have 1,500 Titan component packs, Essence of Dimension. So you're going to have whatever, 7.5 million gold. No, more than 7.5. Oh, 15 million gold, excuse me. Yeah. So yeah, again, this is only to kind of soften the blow for whales who had already upgraded the gears to 25, because everyone else is getting the gears for free for 1 gold each. So I repeat, do not upgrade the gears now to get this, because you're gonna spend more than you're getting. There's no way, unless you're like godly lucky and you upgrade with 1, right? It's like a 1 upgrade, you know? It's just, trust me, it's not gonna pan out. So yeah, don't do that. But yeah, for those of you that already upgraded it, you are gonna get some rewards in return. And so there you go. And then for Mystique, you're gonna get Phoenix Feathers instead of Black Antimatter. That's kind of a bummer. That's kind of a kick in the teeth. Not a kick in the teeth. That's kind of a bummer, but yeah. So, pretty big change to awakened characters. We apologize for any potential inconveniences regarding the awakening system, and we will do our best to continue providing fun game experience for our agents. Honestly, Marvel Future Fight, I think this is a big win. I think this is a big win. I think it's going to upset some players. I think some players are not really going to see the point of this, but as a veteran and as someone who, wanted awakening characters to be more unique and to stand out more in the crowd, I think this is really going to help them. Yes, it means that you're going to have to build up awakening characters the way that you build up tier 3 characters now, because you have to get their gears to 25. But I think that making more of an investment into each one of those characters is going to make them feel more unique and more special. Right now, awakening characters don't feel special. They feel boring, they feel bland, and they feel very copy-paste, and they're all the same. So I feel like this system has a definite opportunity, because they don't have to slap the same stats on every single skill, right? Remove all debuff, increase attack and defense, increase critical rate, they don't have to do that crap anymore. So they can focus on making the awakened skill actually interesting and unique and different. And then everything else will be sort of a copy paste in terms of getting a generic stat bump once you transcend potential. So I'm excited. I think it's good. I can't wait to see what what Medusa's awakening skill is. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this system and how you feel about it. And yeah, hopefully we'll get more information on this, and we'll see in the APK how this works, and it'll be very exciting. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sitting through the whole video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.